All right, call the Douglas County Parks Advisory Board meeting to order. Great. Roll call. Gina?
Here.
Phil's not here. Troy?
Here.
Craig?
Here.
And with me, that gives us a quorum, so we can vote on things, right? Okay. All right, approval of the minutes. Everybody get a chance to read the minutes?
Yep.
I made a note on them. What did I make? I don't know. It was just a spelling glitch, no big deal. Okay, so all in favor of approving the minutes, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous, approved minutes. On the agenda, okay, let's see what we got going there. We got the veteran discount program we'll be talking about, day use parking issues. And, wow, a pretty quick meeting there.
Yeah, we got late.
Yeah, good. Talking about director's updates, she'll talk about that later, so, okay. Director, it's on you.
Okay, first item of business is reviewing the Veterans Discount Program, something Troy wanted us to come back and just kind of do a recap of how it's been performing, so there's the numbers. So as a refresher, the original discount program provided maximum of 10 free or heavily discounted nights annually to qualified disabled vets. And we expanded that to a 10% discount to all qualified veterans, disabled or otherwise. And we also expanded it to include yurts and cabins, and there's no limits on how many discounts a veteran can use. And so there's an update on the actual numbers we have for fiscal year 23 was the last full year of the disabled vet program. 24 was transitional because you can reserve up to 11 months out, so you kind of got a blend there. And so 25 and 26 would be what I'd call 100% of the new program. So as requested, there's current information.
So expanding it, there's more days reserved, right? Overall, we're obviously saving a bunch of money on it compared to what we spent in the past. And that's why I was bringing up, do we expand the discount? Do we look at another program to? A couple thoughts that I had on it is, there's a couple other programs out there for different things that, you know, all vets get a certain amount, and then if you're disabled, you get more, and it's usually based on your percentage of disability. That's one way of looking at it. So say you're 40% disabled, you get a 40% discount, you're 100% disabled, you get a free night, up to 10 nights. That's a program that's out there. I would like to see us get it back up to that $46,000 number, if possible. That way we're showing good things for all the veterans. I don't know what kind of programs you guys like to look at or be interested in looking at that, but.
My point of view is the status quo is fine. You know, the $46,000, that's a lot of money that the department was giving towards veterans. So you can look at it two ways. Either we try to get back to that, or we recognize that, you know, relative to our budget and revenue, that was a lot of money for a department to be giving out when we're trying to be fiscally solvent. And so I think we've right-sized the program. We're offering a discount to all veterans, and 10% discount is pretty consistent with what you see out there at stores and other places. There's a few that are 15%. You know, the concern I have is I don't want the program to oscillate up and down. You know, say we go to 15 or 20%, a year or two from now, everyone jumps on it, and we're looking at 30, 40,000, and then wanting to ratchet it back down. I think we want stability and not, because I don't want to be put in a difficult situation of ramping it down again if this number gets out of whack. It's too big.
How many years was it a full discount?
It preceded me. Do you have any idea, Jennifer, how long the old program was in effect?
I wanna say around, no, honestly, I don't think I don't know the exact date.
Was the 46,000 kind of a consistent or in the total amount of discount through the lifetime of it, or did it go up and down?
I recall when we first pulled these numbers together, I had fiscal year 21, 22, and that was in that 50. I think so post-pandemic 21, we saw a spike in our campground usage, just people getting out after the pandemic. I think it was up to 55,000, maybe 60,000 at its peak.
So if through the lifetime with 100% discount, 50,000 was kind of the peak, I would think there's probably not a significant risk of bumping up to like a 15% or a little bit more, cause that's still not gonna, even if you got full utilization, you're not gonna bump up to that 50,000.
No,
And that, I mean, I totally agree, but I was thinking if we went with the 20% number, even if we doubled the 7,000 to 14,000, we're still gonna probably stay under 20. Cause if you look at the total amount of veterans served, it's relatively the same number. I mean, it's a little less this year, but you know, the 299, the 309, those are relatively the same amount. You know, the average discount now is $6.50. You know, it was $37 when we were doing it per veteran. So if we went up to that 20% and that goes up to $12 or $13 discount average, I still think you're gonna still be under 20 grand and you're gonna be half of what we spent in the past. That's my feeling, is 20%.
I guess my viewpoint is that I don't look at the 46,000 as a high watermark we gotta get back to.
I get it.
Trying to right-size the program and recognize, well, one little department, and, you know, 7,000 is not an insignificant amount of money to be putting towards the cause, so to speak. And, you know, the county's gonna be facing some pretty tough financial conditions the next few years. I don't wanna ramp this up only to have to ramp it back down in the future.
I get it. It's just hard for me to ever hear that, you know, we don't wanna spend 40,000 towards veterans just because of my background and everything I do. So, I mean, that's, so I would defend that all day long. It's just my nature. It's what I'm gonna do, so.
I respect that. And, you know, I didn't make this an action item today, I just wanted to have
Yeah,
a discussion.
no, absolutely.
There's a broader discussion to have with the commissioners before we ramp that up. And, so we're just kinda getting everyone's point of view today and have further discussion later.
That's great. Jennifer, on that program, cause you get the phone calls, I think. What's the general feeling about how things are as far as the veterans getting discounts and so forth? It's really good?
It is now that they've gotten used to the 10% off. I think they appreciate it that all veterans are included versus just disabled vets. I don't take the phone calls as much, do the more business side, but
You know, I just
but I
read
haven't
that.
had any negative
I
feedback.
don't know if that was I don't know where I read it, sorry, I should have printed it. But I just read that they were very happy that all veterans were there. Some with handicaps don't wanna say. It used to be those that had issues got discounts and the others didn't. Well, a lot of veterans don't wanna say, I have a handicap. They just wanna be treated like all veterans, that's my opinion.
Yeah,
I am a veteran, which I'm gonna get to in a minute because they're honoring the company that I worked for 6 years today. I saw that proclamation, we'll get to that later, but anyway, that's my feeling, is that now I'm reading that we're happy, we don't have to identify ourselves. If we got hurt, we didn't. If we went overseas or we stayed stateside, doesn't make a bit of difference. I used to have a real trouble putting the veterans in the same block that went overseas and got the hell shot out of them, and luckily got back with pieces, or didn't get back at all, versus the ones that stayed stateside, which happened to be me. And so when people used to say, veterans stand up, I would not stand up in a room, because I didn't believe I belonged with that group that went to Vietnam. That was when I was 67. So I didn't believe I belonged in that same group. That was my problem. I had to get over that I was a veteran, I served 6 years. So you see now that I love that you treat everybody the same. Nobody has to identify themselves. I'm rambling, but I've got an emotional thing too.
I'll tell you what,
This came up today. I saw that, I looked down and said, Company Z, 1st Battalion, 186th Infantry, platoon sergeant standing right here. Anyway,
Jerry, that story is the reason I pushed for it to do that in the first place, because I am a veteran, and just for awareness, I am 100% disabled veteran. I have a broken back. I broke my back in a 113 accident in Yakima Desert training to go to Kuwait. I didn't wanna keep it just for disabled veterans, because all veterans matter, and that's
Yeah, I
the
love
reason,
that.
and that's
I
the
love it.
reason I pushed it. I could've got the free night, I've never used one before, I've never used the discount, cause if I go camp, I'm gonna pay full price. But it was all veterans was the reason we pushed it, and so that's why I'm really on board with, if we can expand it and give 20% off, get the word out, it just does more for us. I know we're not an action item, that's just my feelings on it, and then we can look at later,
You
so.
can chat, like you said, that's a great idea. Let's chat with them, see what they wanna do, bring it back, if they wanna bring it back. Good stuff, right off the bat, that's a
I
great
would,
stuff.
I would just add to Jen's comments, the
Yes,
feedback from veterans has been predominantly positive, basically from those veterans that didn't have access to the program. But we did have it, when it first happened, some very strong negative reactions from disabled vets that somehow took it as an affront to them.
And you do know that I wrote those disabled veterans an email with my own personal signature block on it and explained why. I did that.
what was the complaint?
They were mad because they thought we were taking away the free nights, and I explained exactly my stance on it. It went through you,
There was some
you've seen the
negatives,
email.
Oh,
Yep.
okay, oh.
I literally, as,
I remember that.
Yep.
Yeah.
I wrote explaining my stance on it, the reason we did it. I didn't hear anything back, I don't know if it helped or not, but I don't think another word came out, at least from that person.
That's all simmered down as far as I know.
It did, I think it helped, email helped
It's
a lot,
kind of
if we ever,
that.
You know,
we haven't had any
I stand behind it 100%, what
Parks Advisory Board to take this strong of an issue, I love it.
Yeah.
I love it, so, all right, good.
Thank you very much for
Just
doing
on
that.
a side note, the state park system is struggling with that very issue right
They are.
now because of their financial woes. Theirs is 10 free nights per month.
It's all veterans and it's a free pass, you literally just could get a free
Lifetime
card
pass.
and it's a lifetime pass. And so now I don't know how they take the lifetime pass away, but it's all veterans get completely free.
But I can only imagine that that's a big impact on their revenue program. You know,
National parks are also free.
I think.
Yep,
Okay, enough on that?
perfect, thank you very much, Mark.
That's very good, good dialogue, I love it, I love it, I love it, okay, where we at?
Next item, day use parking issue. So we've had a number of issues this year with the public parking, unregistered and unlicensed RVs at the program parking lot in Amaker. It's extended, what they're doing is they know the rules, it's a day use, so that they park there during the day and then they move. Supposedly they move at night, although we did catch one guy that was staying. And dealt with it for about 6 weeks, and I really have nothing in the park statutes that I could kick them out. And then they stayed there long enough that they ended up causing resource damage. The one lady started trimming trees, and the other guy had a dog tied to the back of his RV and basically tore up all the grass and left a whole pile of dog poop. Didn't care about it, and so that I finally got cause to kick him out. But it's something that we struggle with, and you know, I'm really trying to, you know, if you just throw caution to the wind, these sort of vehicles fill up the parks, and just trying to hold the line on them. You know, I could come up with solutions myself, but I thought this would be a good one just to throw out to try to get some input on what we might do. You know, you can do a time limit, but there's consequence to that. I think about fishing guides that drop their customers off and they go on the river all day. I don't want to dissuade that. You know, we currently require RVs to have a current vehicle registration and RV license to camp in our parks. That would be something that we could enforce in our day use parks. And then I'm open to other ideas. We really need to deal with it. It took us quite a while to come up with cause to get those people out of there.
I like the idea of the registration and RV sticker. I had the same concern you do. I don't wanna impact the fishing, like the fishing industry in Douglas County is already taking a pretty good hit, and it is a decent revenue stream, so I wouldn't wanna do anything that would impact the guides.
I mean, aren't their day use, they're supposed to be out by dark, I mean, how do we, who's going in there and making sure they're out, I mean, is that?
Well, that's the
That's
thing,
the
unless, you know, I just happened to be driving by one evening and the guy that says he's leaving at dark, he knows we all go home. Whatever, there's no park staff patrolling, and it's not a priority for the sheriff, although I'll give the sheriff credit. Once we found cause to get him out of there, the sheriff was very responsive and helpful, moving him along, and we haven't seen him back in in that park since then. But what I've learned is they become an attractive nuisance to each other. They're always looking for places to park, and when they see one parking in a place for so long, and actually I asked this one person, he said, well, I thought I thought it was okay to park here, because the other one RVs that were there. And so they kind of become attractive nuisances that they think this is a safe place to park. So I'm trying to address that.
So if you did the current registration and the sticker, it would require, again, somebody driving through and checking, right?
Yeah, but that's easy enough to do if they're there during the day. Then we can address it and then
Before dark.
before dark. And then if they are there after dark, then the sheriff's on notice, because if they don't move on of their own accord, when we just ask them, we ask the sheriff to come, just ask them to leave. The sheriff's been very good at helping us with that.
These are the parks that don't have gates that we're talking about? 'Cause most of your parks have gates, right? Close at night? No.
Some of them. Whistler, we close the gate at
Whistler.
night. Amaker, we close the gate to under the railroad trestle, to the
Right.
campground.
Right?
We don't have a gate to the day use area.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah. And if you don't have a camp host, the gates become problematic, because then you gotta have a staff person to
Open
open and close it. You know, and parks are open sunset to sunrise to sunset, so obviously in the summer, we're not gonna have somebody running around
Yeah.
opening gates and closing them in the evenings.
Issues, all right.
I think
No resolution yet, huh?
well, that's what we're here to discuss.
I know, that's what I'm trying to
What
think.
if we just did like a time limit for RVs, just say an hour parking, you know?
So what are you gonna do about the RV that goes to Amaker to go tube on the river all day? I don't wanna preclude, those sort of activities. If the board supports it, I like just adopting the registration. That's cut and dry. And it's consistent with what we allow in the campgrounds. I'm open to other ideas.
Cause that one camper, I promise you, with his dog, will pull up by the restroom and he'll sit there and he stays there overnight. Cause I've been over there at 7:30 in the morning, the next day, that camper is still on the back of that pickup.
Mhm.
And the dog is still outside and he's right next to the restroom. So I know there's one, cause I go to the Delray in the early or we drive in the afternoon and he does, I say he, I'll take it for granted, it's a he. But parks in the same spot. We've been there several times, so I know it's an issue. So you're, just so I'm clear, registration meaning would do what now?
Valid vehicle registration and if it's an RV, a valid RV license,
Yeah,
just consistent with the campgrounds.
So that would go for all vehicles.
Yeah, we wouldn't.
So what's the process of getting a vehicle registration?
DMV.
DMV.
easy.
Oh, I thought you meant through the parks.
No.
Okay, I'm like, I don't even know, I don't even have one of these.
Like, where do I get one?
I park at them all the time.
We're not talking about parking
That's
passes.
why I saw his eyebrows go up.
Okay.
Okay, I was interpreting completely wrong.
He's trying to make it be legal or not, so they pull that thing out on the highway, pop. I don't know what we can do. At least you'd have it registered, you know who it was, that's what you're talking about. Yeah. Then you'd know. Then you'd know people that, yeah. I like that idea. Is an action, not yet today?
No, it's informational. If
You'd have to vote on it next time.
Kind of supports exploring that idea. I'll get with county council and come up with an ordinance for the park staff.
Is that something we could do an electronic vote on in between meetings if we needed to, if you want to get it implemented quicker than the next meeting?
I'll bring it up. I'll
Okay.
flesh it out with county council. I'll bring it potentially a action item for the next
We
meeting.
were cautioned about that
About doing electronic
a
voting?
couple years ago.
Okay.
I'd rather do it in the public.
Correct.
That's fine. I just was asked the question.
Good, great questions though, they're great questions. There was a little tiff a couple years ago over that
Okay.
online voting and so.
Yeah, it's not as transparent. People can't see it, all that stuff. Yep.
Misunderstanding, I think that was.
Yep.
Good. Okay, now, old business, can't think what it would have been. You did a great job last time. Let's see, take actions on the items old and new. Is there any actions we need to take?
Yeah, no old business.
No. citizen, now somebody just walked into
We do
this,
have a Karen Cleveland,
what?
Karen
Yeah, there it
Cleveland,
is, there it is.
non-agenda item.
Yes,
Karen, I think we're there.
there, okay, okay.
The floor is yours, Karen.
Oh, my goodness.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
So sorry, I had a hard time, they sent me over the other way and then back.
We chased everybody else off just for you.
I'm sorry.
No.
I'm sorry. Well, I'll just, like I said, I don't wanna take a lot of y'all's time, I'll just cut to the chase about the reason why I'm here. I've had the privilege of being a camp host for the Forest Service. I was in the dunes for 18 months for Douglas County, for Coos County. So I've been a camp host, and the reason why I'm bringing this before you is because there's no recycling. That's the issue that I'm bringing a proposal to. So there's no recycling in the campgrounds. And I've also volunteered for Dune Fest, I volunteered for UTV Takeover 3 years in a row. And there's no recycling. I know that the recycling issue is very complex. And like I said, I don't wanna take up a whole lot of y'all's time with the whole recycling thing. But I've formed a nonprofit. And here's my proposal, kind of put it in a nutshell, is to put Oregon-specific recycling collection, it's the bottle bill. To put, I don't know if this is good for y'all to see.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
can see it.
we're good, yeah.
I'm sorry.
That's perfect, that's good.
I'm not the president, it's just something I've seen everywhere that I've gone. And as I said, I was in the dunes for 18 months and tried to say the Forest Service, like, we should recycle, this is what's actually happening here in the campgrounds. And we all know that Oregon has 10 cents, so that bag of cans is worth $5. And it creates all kinds of other things. When I was in Spenville, you know, they come in and jump in the dumpsters and they go steal from the campers and round and round. And like I said, at the big events, it's a shame. There's a tremendous amount that goes straight to the dumpster, straight to the landfill, because it doesn't get separated out before. And so this is a container that's customizable. You can put different posters in the front. I just picked up the one because that's information from the Oregon model bill about what's redeemable and what's not. And that's a collection container that's very stout. It's made in Canada. It weighs over 100 pounds. I mean, it's like a commercial grade thing to stand between the public, because when the public comes to visit the recreation, they don't know how it works in Oregon. They're like, oh, what do I do with this? Oh, we don't know. We don't have got time for that. Throw it in the trash. Even, like I said, as I've volunteered for Dune Fest, I volunteered for Takeover. I'm like, look at all this that, you know, we don't have time for that. That's collecting cans. So it's been a number of years that I've seen this, and I just realized that this was one avenue to bring it to your attention, and I think we could intercept that.
So what are you specifically proposing, Karen?
It's the collection container. It's the container. And then if, and the campgrounds, there's enough of a volume, they all have a different feel to them, if you will. But in the campgrounds, if there's a camp host, then you make it easy for the camp host. I have seen camp hosts climb into dumpsters and get the cans because, you know, that's $5 or $10 and it's just there. But if you make it available for the camp host, it's lockable, then they can easily get it. And then the public comes around and they go, oh, okay, here we go, that's where it goes.
So are you suggesting that the county parks board puts the containers up? How are they gonna manage them? What's your thoughts on all that? I mean, are you asking us to go put these in all the parks?
Just, and to discuss it, I think the camp host would gladly take that $5, $10 and do the green bag program. When I was a camp host, I noticed a lot of people, the Oregonians, they know, they do the green bags. as a registered nonprofit, I can do the blue bags and I can do, you know, a bigger volume, like at some of the events. When I made a proposal last year, I said to UTV Takeover, I said, I was literally a volunteer at the gate, can I put up a tent? Says, hey, you know, I said, hey, this is how we do it in Oregon, right here. And I know the OHV people would be overwhelmingly, oh yes, we just don't know where to go, we don't know what to do. And they're busy having fun, they're busy doing other stuff. So the containers, if there's a camp host there, you know, make it available to them. It is lockable, I guess, if you look at it on a bigger scale. In other places where there's not one, don't lock it. Because the point is not to go, oh, I've got my $5 in cans. The point is to keep it from going to the landfill and also to use the momentum of the people. People want to recycle. They want to do the right thing. But they take just a minute to go, what do I do with this? I was actually at Umpqua Dunes, Douglas County, years ago before all the additions, and I went by and visited recently in the new convenience store and all of that stuff. It's beautiful, absolutely beautiful. But as I stopped, I realized, oh, I have a 10-cent organ, there's no place. And it's going to the landfill.
I have a couple questions, and I don't know if you know the answers or not, but do you know what the cost of one of those containers is?
I do. And these from this manufacturer's in Canada, is Clean River, that's what they do. And going with there's different sizes that you could do with the least 36 and one string, which is kind of like what I have here. It's about $2,000. And that's, you know, it's from the other side, and it's a good manufacturer. They're the only ones that I could find where there was a poster where you can change it out. When they do the picture, they just picked up the redeemable because I kept trying to convey, look, there's this information. Some people want to know and they care, oh, let me see. You know, other people, they just want a moment. This was a banner that I did when I was at Spin Rail. And you know, just in being a camp host there and observing how the public works with it, I realized that's the key things. It needs to be empty, whole, and uncrushed. That's what makes it different. Oregon's redeeming system different than other states, because people from California are like, no, we crush them there. Other people are like, oh, we're going to put our cigarette butts out and it doesn't matter. And you know, if you look at, you're redeeming it, because what are we going to do with them then when we collect them? And
So just kind of making sure I understand, what you're talking about is us figuring out a way to put these in all of the campgrounds, etc., but not collecting the cans or using them for revenue for the Parks Department, maybe, or just having them collected and whoever wants to turn them in could grab cans and turn them in, right? Is that kind of the thought?
And at some point, somebody has to do the initial cost for the container.
Right.
It has to pay for itself.
Have you looked into, is there any nonprofits or groups or organizations that are placing these?
No.
Because there are none?
No, I formed Friends of Spin Reel, which is a nonprofit, when I was a camp host for the Forest Service at Spin Reel for 18 months. Went through 3 different supervisors saying, hey, let's recycle. No, there are no options. I can show you my whole thing about talking to the Forest Service and all of that. And then Friends of Spin Reel is not a legal nonprofit anymore. We Love Oregon, because it's on a larger scale, and the legalities of being a nonprofit then I'm not, because nobody else is doing it. That's all I'm saying, and it's kind of people that don't understand what you want to do with this. The other thing I would love to do, which would be a lot of fun, is at these big events. Hey, here's my booth. Everybody's worried about their stuff and having a good time, and that's great. But let's also go, this is Oregon, let's, and with the cans, there is a redeemable value, so it does, you know, it makes sense to do it. Douglas County's website actually has a good good notes about what's not working with the recycling system.
So what's keeping you from doing it at the big events now? Cause those, they rent the parks for that. Those aren't hosted by Douglas County Parks. So you would just go get to the event coordinator, set up your booth and do your thing.
I reached out to UTV Takeover last time. And, I mean, I just printed the emails that we did back and forth. And I can summarize for you rather than showing you that, because I said, can I do this? And they kind of went, oh, that's collecting cans. We got somebody else that does that. And, you know, the more that you look further, okay, who's doing it? They're not doing it on the kind of crazy scale that I'm suggesting. Because I would say that there's a huge amount. You know, they're like, you know, our friend, our buddy, he said our buddy's doing it all 3 states. And they're, you know, the Boy Scouts are collecting cans and then we're turning them in, that kind of thing.
We wouldn't be able to control that because we don't control who collects those cans. I'll use the University of Oregon as well, you know, I mean, they come around with a blue bag and hand it out to your tailgate and say, hey, if you put your cans in here, you put your cans in here. They don't have these bins. So, I mean, I'm just wondering how, what you're asking, if you're asking for us to tell the people that rent the parks from us that they need to go to you to get cans, or how do you control that piece? Cause we can't tell them what to do.
You mean like at the events?
Yeah.
I would ask again. I will, as it gets closer, I can say again, I know that they do the events. I put in as a vendor. Can I be a vendor and do this?
Hand out bags.
I'm sorry?
And just hand out bags.
I would do a pop-up tent right next to the trash. That's where I was doing the gate. I'd do it right next to the trash, cause that's where they're gonna go throw the trash anyway.
But we can't stop you from doing that now. What can we do? We can't, I don't know where our role would be in having you do that, yes or no. We don't have any control any of that,
Oh,
so.
yes, I understand. I understand.
So, okay.
Yeah, I'm throwing out ideas out there. Like I said, it's something that I feel passionate about, cause I've seen it as a camp host in all the places that I've been. The state is the only one that does like a commingled. And,
The ones in other locations, like other parks and stuff, do you know who did the initial funding to get them in there?
where,
You said that you've seen them in other parks and stuff, do you know who paid for the containers and stuff to get that started in those?
no, only the state has a commingled, state parks have a place to put commingled. The other parks, be it the county, none of the counties do. None of the federals do. I mean, I can show you my whole thing about with the Forest Service, that there's no recycling available because it doesn't actually work.
Well, part of it's the service areas. You know, and whether the garbage company that's picking up the garbage is doing recycling. I know they do it in the city, but you know, our parks are scattered all over the place. And so that's the limiting factor. My other concern about this program is just the accountability and cash handling. I don't wanna deal with it. We start accumulating lots of bags of cans in our cash handling policies, and that just becomes a target for theft.
You don't think the host would,
We already, you know, we migrated away from the cash pay boxes because of the theft that was occurring. That's gonna be a honeypot for transients.
Yeah, they're gonna come steal the cans for sure.
But that's part of what she was saying, is not necessarily the county doing the collection, either the camp host or transients or whoever wants the cans just taking it.
Which is what's happening now. Camp house that'll recycle cans and then, you know, some of our day use parks, a can doesn't have a very long shelf life sitting on the floor in a garbage can.
they jump in the dumpster and get them.
Yeah.
And,
So all you're doing really is not turning it, but all you're doing is making a designated spot for them to put those instead of putting them in the dumps. That's all you're doing.
But then it becomes, okay, what do we do with this bag
Well,
of
then-
cash?
And they're overran or somebody doesn't pick them up and then they got them, they're falling on the ground. I mean, there's pros and cons to everything, right? And so,
surely the camp host would want them. I mean, most they, we're told it's okay to recycle them, separate them out. I mean, if you wanna go to that trouble, I personally know you're gonna jump in the dumpster. And I think that's one of the reasons why years ago, the trash man that picks up the trash told me that there was a guy in the dumpster in Horsefall collecting cans. I mean, it's just and I'd see them come into Spin Reel. They come in, they get in the dumpster, and then they go steal from the campers. And it's just I realize that there's that part of it with the theft and that's gonna go on, and there's also the part where it's not getting separated out. It's going to the landfill.
This doesn't change that. All this does is they're jumping into this thing to get the cans instead of the dumpster. That's the only thing this does,
I should have
because,
seen it wouldn't lock.
well, I mean, with the opening, they're gonna reach their hands in there. I mean, there's just, I mean, I think it's a great idea. I just don't know the logistics of trying to do something like this. I mean, we'd have to really talk about it,
I
because
think you're on the right track with thinking about a nonprofit that's focused on this as its sole project. I think if you, which in itself, like the same logistics and everything apply, right? But I think you're on the right track with thinking about trying to establish a nonprofit that the sole mission of that nonprofit is this. Is these bins, and then you're controlling them, you're emptying them, you're using the revenue from that to continue putting into the nonprofit. But that's gonna take, I mean, I work for a nonprofit, it's not easy.
Yes.
But I really think that is probably the right track for getting this to happen.
that's a model to happen, cause then the nonprofit pays the $2,000, they drop the bin, they control the bin, they take care of the bin, we're hands off, we're
Deal
nothing.
with
We
cash.
give them the, 4x4 square to put that box in, and then they run
License
everything.
agreement.
You get 5 of these throughout the county that one nonprofit does, it could be a good little chunk of change. I mean, it's gonna be an upfront cost of $8,000 or whatever, but over time, it's gonna, I also work for a nonprofit on the side too, and I mean, it'd be a good thing that I don't have time to do it, but somebody might. It could be a Boy Scout thing, it could be an Eagle Scout project, there's many things to do it. I think what you would come to the board for would be ask, hey, can we place these? And I think as a board, we could probably come up with something on that, but I don't think we would place them per se. We would buy them and place them, cause then the liability is on us to take care of them,
I understand.
and that would be,
I don't wanna touch
that would be him. And that's,
Yeah.
but I do think just like you said, that you do have a good thing, and I think that if you worked with somebody, put a proposal together, it could probably go in front of us, and I mean, I would definitely
I think the
like
ability
to
to
look
get
at it.
funding for this too, with especially the current leadership we have in Oregon and everything else and the priorities of the state right now, that you could get grant funding pretty easily to kickstart it. And then it's just having the people that can put in the legwork to collect the cans, cause it's probably going to be during the summer an everyday thing.
Yes.
Or
Yes.
working with the camp host, that kind of thing, but I can see this being very successful with that nonprofit framework.
I believe so too. And you can't have it with one person in your nonprofit, cause you've already figured that out really quickly, that it's probably not enough people to do something. It's gonna be something where you get a group, they're gonna rotate picking stuff up,
Or partner.
or partner, cause it's a lot.
It is a lot, and like I said, We Love Oregon is a nonprofit.
Okay.
It's registered with the state, I have my 501c3 from the IRS as far as being a nonprofit. I'm registered with Bottle Drop to redeem them that way by either doing the blue bags or doing on a big scale at an event. I'm already set up to do that. The difference between the two was just the legality of nonprofits versus public benefit and charity or mutual benefit and private foundation.
Yep.
And I've spent years doing this, talking, come on, let's recycle, to where it's kind of been exhausting, that's why I went, okay, so We Love Oregon, this is it. And these things are changeable, I don't know, I'm just trying to bring the conversation on the table, that this is what's happening there. Yeah. And find some momentum to do it. Again, I'm not looking to collect cans to support the cause. The cause is we can do better between the public and landfill and our recreation areas and our campgrounds at these big events. Then I would think it would be super easy. You know, because,
Seems like you could have your biggest impact at just the one UTV takeover. You could recycle more than you could
yes,
grabbing nickels and dimes from all the rest of our campgrounds combined if you just focused on that one event.
yes, if they would let me. They said no,
In touch with Steve?
yes. He said no,
And see, that's where the
It's his,
issue
it's
is.
his event.
Yeah, that's where the issue
I
comes in. We
I
can't-
understand, but they're, I'm sorry?
That's where the issue comes in. We can't force him to let you do it, is the,
Yes, of course, that's, like I said, that's,
I'm interested in why he said no.
I'm
yeah,
sorry?
me too.
I'm interested in why he said no. What did you
I'm going to give this to you because I like documentation.
short?
Yeah, this pretty short version, he said we have somebody collecting cans, that's just collecting cans. And he's gonna collect
He said,
cans,
thank you so much, Oregon Bottle Bill does have specific requirements. If things
oh,
do change, we'd love to be there.
that's
the answer.
backwards, I'm sorry, it listed backwards. You know what I'm
I
saying, when
can't
it,
read backwards.
you
No,
print it.
okay.
that was my
Anyway,
last reply to him.
He probably gave you some reasons and I don't want, Winchester Bay, you know, we don't do, the Stoon Fest anymore, done, gone, bye-bye, okay, have nothing to do with that. Okay,
Yeah, I'm sorry, should,
it'd be best if you just read a couple, he had good reasons for saying no, and I'd like to know what they were.
he said, right here, I put in a sponsorship, I said, can I put up a tent by the trash and do this, and he said, thank you very much for your application for what you're doing. Unfortunately, we already have a company that provides a similar service and brings awareness to trash cleanup in the area and recycling. They are attending all 3 of our events this year and working to collect cans and engage the community in order to keep the area trash free. So I said,
You said,
So I said, thank you for your swift response. That's great news. I was at Winchester Bay last year as a volunteer and there wasn't any recycling available either with a nonprofit or the local waste management company. May I inquire as to whom this company is? And he said, it's Dirt Life Media and he calls the project Cans for Kids.
Okay, sounds like he's already got it
yeah.
covered.
So what our director said to you, I think I heard, was that you should specifically go to the major projects such as whatever Dune Fest used to be, but isn't, we have nothing to do with it anymore. Something like that.
We have several
Yep.
tournaments that fill up Whistler Bend.
Whistler, yeah, there you go.
Hundreds of people attending those. There's
That
other
golf-
events you can
Golf
engage
tournament
with.
up there and all of that, those are huge. And if you wanna do something that has like that, I agree with it. I think you have more than, I believe you'd have more than you could handle, which is saying a lot about your cause. Just by going to some major things like that rather than trying to broadcast it. Cause I'm in the same boat as, or I believe as our director, and I think the commissioners too. Liability just screams all over the place when you do something like that, or get involved in it. It doesn't take much anymore these days, and people seem to think the county has deep pockets. So when they line up all the people they're gonna sue, if the county even breathes into something like that, you know we're gonna get named. So consequently, I throw up big
I
walls,
understand,
okay?
I understand.
So
I
that's
guarantee
not
you-
about you, it's just the way it is.
I guarantee you, if we had those boxes in our parks, they'd be getting pilfered multiple times a day. They'll be on somebody's loop.
Just because, yeah.
Yeah,
You
just
heard what he said?
Yes.
become an attractive nuisance.
Yes, that's cause the people that would do that are looking at the $5, bag of $5.
Sure, or even
Yeah, it's a lot
20
to them.
cents, 2 cans, and it's not set up like a mailbox. So at least it appears it's not set up like a mailbox, so, you know, it goes in just as a can can go in just as easily as your hand, right?
Yes,
Well, and you get the wrong person, they're gonna bust it open. I mean, there's just things that they'll do.
Well, some people do it
Yeah.
to do it.
Just to do it.
It's not even the bottles that they're after, it's just to do it.
Yep.
And I can't change that.
yes,
And you know it, you've been involved enough, you know, they're just a nature of some people.
yes.
I'll leave it at that, but you know what I'm talking about.
No,
anything nice or creative gets destroyed. I don't know what makes a mind tick like that. That's what we face every day, and certainly in the Parks Department.
Yeah.
You know, I'll be quiet now, but I appreciate your thought on the surface. I do appreciate cleaning up parks, cleaning up all, I appreciate the effort to put that together. Appreciate you coming in here talking to us. I like you. My first impression of you is good, so what else can I say?
Oh, well, thank you. Then they stole my blue, I had a blue trash can. I was like, hey, you know, cause blue is recycling, they stole that too.
Yeah, that's the unfortunate thing.
Yeah,
Good
Yeah.
presentation, so
Thank
we'll
you,
just
Karen.
Thank you.
keep talking. All right,
thank you.
good.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very
Appreciate your
much.
time.
Where are we? So down to,
Director's updates.
Don't have, anyone online wants to comment on agenda items?
oh, I forgot.
Okay.
No.
Sorry, I got you covered. So moving on, directors' updates. So just some construction project updates. Stanton is, phase one is the day use area, that's done. Phase two is the upper campground, it's essentially done, there's a few things left to do. Primarily the landscaping, and we're looking to have that completed and shooting for Memorial Day, it might slip to July 1st, just depends on what we get for spring weather to get the landscaping done. But that's on track. Cooper Creek, I just put out an RFB for the docks. I'm hoping to have those before July to replace the docks at Cooper Creek. And then this winter, I hope to get an RFB out for the paving and the parking lot improvements at Cooper Creek. Might be tight to get. If it doesn't look like I can get the paving done before July 1st, I'll probably postpone it till September just to avoid the busy summer season. That place is packed in the summer.
Oh, yeah.
I don't want to impact that. I'm hoping I can at least get the docks in. That's a pretty easy process to replace the docks and not impact the public. So that's the update on that. Capital project grant activity, so you have a spreadsheet I attached. And I'm gonna give you a new one because I just updated it. And
Nope.
so, there's one for the record. So we'll just go through scroll through, this is my kind of active grant spreadsheet I maintain. Stanton Park Phase 3, that's the lower campground. They've had a very good fall, this unusually dry fall, gotten a lot accomplished. That's looking really good. I was able to get requested and got an increase of $135,000 in that grant to cover some additional landscaping needs that we have down there.
So on that lower park, is there a design on that there was some concerns that were brought up on people getting in and out of there for fishing boats and stuff like that?
So what we've done is, it was gonna be, we could not provide access through the campground itself. It's an active construction site and it's just all tore up. And we had plans there's a trail that comes from the upper campground to the fishing hole, the beach there. And we planned for that to be a 6-foot paved walking path to get down to the river, and a pavilion that we're gonna build down there. And we've since pivoted and turned that into an access road.
Okay.
And
So boats will be able to get in it. The biggest concern is boats getting in and out.
so we've got the campground closed off, we've opened the upper, we've kept the day use area closed because, you know, it's not safe for the public right now, there's tripping hazards, holes, there's all sorts of stuff. So we've kind of got the river access kind of cordoned off so people can get to the river but stay out of the rest of the park. And then when you get down below, we've got it closed off so you can't access the lower campground construction zone. We've got a very nice gravel road you can go down either head first or down and back in. And I think the fishing community should like what we've done. And then this winter, so that's not considered, so we get a MAPS grant from the Oregon State Marine Board to help us maintain the boat ramps, kind of an O&M grant. Stanton is not considered a boat ramp by the Marine Board.
Correct.
And, you know, with the changes we're doing and the parking we're gonna be providing down below, and, you know, kind of this road that we just put in there, we're gonna approach the Marine Board and see if we can't get it formally recognized as a boat ramp, so we get some money. And two, I'm gonna use the money I've invested in the road to date and see if I can use that as a match to get them to pay for the paving.
That'd be amazing, cause I joined the Parks Board, and one of the things I joined is cause my outdoor enthusiasm, I sat in front of everybody and I told them that. And fishing is a big deal with that, and so we just wanna make sure that we're still providing that as we move forward.
So you familiar with that spot?
I
So
fished there quite a few
go
times.
down there, you know where the garbage can is currently sitting? Just back up from the river about 5 feet, there's gonna be a 20 by 20 pavilion right there. So you've got some shelter and out of the rain and the sun. And then we're gonna have parking from there towards the campground, formal parking spots. And so it's gonna really improve the access to the river and just the whole, I'm excited to see how it's gonna come out.
Then I would ask, can we get the word out to the fishing community that this is the end, and that's why I asked about a design, that this is, cause there's a lot of concern right now about it's gonna get taken away, these people just don't know, right? And so could we get the word out to maybe the fishing community, say, hey, our end goal is to, I know we can't say we're doing this, but our end goal is to do this, cause we're getting ready, Craig and I were talking about this, in 25 days or 30 days from now, that park's gonna blow up with fishing, it just is. And so people start seeing it, they're gonna get,
So what I can tell you is I put a request in, today, Thursday, probably Monday, to get a press release out about the boat ramp.
Perfect.
And I'm just waiting on-
that's awesome. You're already ahead of me.
Yeah, I'm just waiting on public affairs and the commissioners to sign off.
Beautiful. Press release.
Signage down there too.
Yeah, when we put up signage up front,
Beautiful.
so, but I think it's gonna be very well received.
It's a small community, we hear a lot, we live in it.
I went down there on Sunday, but yeah, I mean, it turned out.
Did you drive the road?
I didn't drive down there. I was kinda wondering if he wanted me to or not, and I kinda hung around, and then that Mike guy came out.
And when we first got it in and rolled it out,
It's nice you did that T, or the option of being able to get down there.
and what I'm thinking about doing is, when it's all said and done, what I don't want is to provide a driving loop where people drive down, drive through the campground and do all of that. So I'm gonna make it seasonal, so outside of fishing season, we'll set up some bollards that we can lock in place, and then
Oh, that'd be great.
winter season, we just remove the bollards, cause I don't wanna make that, where people can just drive around the
Have
loop.
kids going in a loop
Yeah,
just
I
for.
wanna make it strictly a pedestrian pathway.
Yep.
People walk down there, not be walking down there, and someone driving up.
Well, the river has very specific seasons, so it'd be easy to do, right?
Yeah, it should
December
get
1st to
underway,
April 30th is what it,
should get underway early December and be
it'll be
strong through
happening soon.
February, but
I think they close April 30th, that river does or something, I think it opens December 1st, closes April
they'll
30th.
know when the bite's on.
Oh, yeah, we will, for sure.
There's salmon spawning out in the river just
Correct,
below
yeah.
there right now, they're all
Yeah.
red and dying.
And that's why they close the river during the off steelhead season, so,
The river's currently closed
for fishing.
this morning.
It's not, I think it opened December 1st, is that when the,
Okay.
I think that's when it opened, I have to look for sure, but,
The river's crazy low right
oh,
now.
yeah.
Well, then you look up north.
Yeah.
Yeah, Eugene North,
Washington
and
is-
you're reading about floods and
Yeah.
catastrophic, and we're on the south end of that atmospheric river, so the south end of it, we're just getting it was 66 degrees yesterday.
Yeah,
It's pretty
we have no
crazy.
snow, it's gonna be,
Wait till February, you'll get it.
yeah.
Well, last year, January, it rained like
Yeah,
all
yeah.
January, you know. and
We always get that 2 week sun, 70 degrees in February, everybody, spring's here, 2 weeks later, it just dumping. You know,
And then fishing comes, you can't fish because the rivers are
So
blowing out.
just finishing up this grant
Good, yeah.
activity, so Whistler Bend Phase 2, we put in pavilions, replaced a bunch of bulk toilets. The other portion of that budget was for doing some campground improvements and putting in smaller RV spots. We had to go through and do a bunch of data collection on the current use on the septic system. We thought we could add 4 or 5 spots, but when we ran the numbers we had to collect numbers all last summer. When we looked at the numbers, we were just bumping up right against the max capacity of that existing system. We said I needed to put in a new one if I wanted to add these 5 sites. Well, if I gotta put in a new one, I wanted to expand it and just convert the whole campground. And so I went after another grant, and yesterday that's why I gave you a new spreadsheet. Yesterday I got word that we've been approved for that grant.
Oh,
And so I'm calling it Whistler Bend Phase 3. We got 626,000, and so between that and the Phase 2 money, we've got about $1.7 million campground project. We'll kick off after Labor Day, 26, and that will finish Whistler.
wow.
Mhm.
We'll pave everything, and we'll convert everything to full hookup. That'll add 20-some RV sites, full hookup RV sites to our portfolio, which in turn will get us about $20,000 a year extra O&M money from the state.
I was up north somewhere and I cannot remember where I was, but they were raving about Whistle Smith Park. It was more about the disc golf side than anything, but they were just
Yeah.
raving about it.
You know, when I first got here, frankly, it's probably my favorite park, and it was a diamond in the rough. You look at the location, the
Yep.
river access, all the recreational opportunities. You know, these investments in that park are gonna pay dividends.
Oh, yeah.
In the
Absolutely.
future. We already seeing an uptick in our usage at that park, so it's really nice to see it kind of shine.
Yeah.
Good job.
Yeah, that's your.
When you put up on the same, I think it's the same subject, when you put up the sign with the new name and everything, you're gonna have a rider that says RV parks and all, yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna plan to replace the sign up front.
That'll draw a lot of.
We have a pending grant with the Land and Water Conservation Fund for what I'm calling Half Moon Bay Phase 1. This is 23 acres we have just north of Triangle Road. And first phase is gonna be in the middle, and that'll allow us to go to the left or the right with phase 2 and 3 and not impact phase 1. So there's a thought plan there. And they have another one pending to convert the vault toilet at the staging area into a flush toilet with potable water. The county recently extended the sewer and water lines out to Salmon Harbor, and while they didn't make it all the way to the staging area, it's a reasonable distance to extend it. And so I've applied for that grant, and the side benefit is the sheriff's department will be able to piggyback off that, those sewer line extensions and convert their own building over. Right now they're on a septic or a tank. Those are pending. I think the Land and Water Conservation Committee, they meet in March or April, and the staging area, I believe that's in January. I'll be applying for those, so I should have some updates for you. And I was able to get some additional funding to help with the landscaping on Stanton Phase 1, about $175,000. It's gonna be about a $400,000 landscape job. Wow.
When you add it all up, it's a lot of money being invested in parks and a lot of grant money coming in. That's great work.
Yeah.
Great work.
When, 5 years from now, we look back on it and we basically rehab the entire system.
Yep.
It'll just, everything I've been dealing with was put in the 70s.
Yeah.
It's basically at the end of functional life. And so we're doing a refresh.
I know that world well. Every VA was built in the 30s to the 70s and I deal with them all the time.
Okay. Let's see, I got another spreadsheet. So you got year-to-date campground usage. And don't be scared by all the red. Some of this is so overall, our occupancy is down in the last year, and I think that's just kind of some trends that are bigger than the Parks Department. For example, we pretty much lost our Canadian customers. They struggle to get through the border, or they're concerned about getting through the border, so they're not making reservations, so we've seen a drop off there. And then you can see the uptick we saw in Umpqua Dunes, and you can see some negative numbers on the other campsites on the coast, but what you're seeing is a shift that people are wanting to move to Umpqua Dunes.
It's 2026 reservations, or is it just projections?
That's actuals year to date.
For we don't know 26 yet.
We're in fiscal year 26.
Yeah,
Oh,
Started
you're
July
talking
1.
June to June.
So it's
July.
July, I have dated July 1 through the end of November.
So we're already, we're pretty close then to 25.
And you've got Pass Creek in there, that's 500 overnights that we don't have anymore. And then you've got the negative numbers at Stanton, that's just because that park's down right now for construction.
but you'll pick up that over the next couple of years with the new stuff over the coast and then.
Yeah, Stanton, it's already on the grid to start making reservations July 1 forward, so that's starting to creep in there. And then the last page, this is just a one-pager, sort of financial view of the department. So you can look, even though the overnight stays are down, the revenue's holding up. A lot of that's driven by Umpqua Dunes. It's such a big driver of our program, especially with the additional sites we put in there. Anyway, there's a lot of information I did digest there. I'll take any questions you might have.
Dunes didn't really impact it that much. You think?
Umpqua Dunes is 45% of our revenue. And it's our highest, we got sites of $75 to $100 a night, so it has an outsized impact on our overall program.
Yeah.
And the new edition has been a big hit. It was pretty much sold out all summer.
Yeah.
It was sold out for Thanksgiving weekend and filling up for New Year's. Hasn't sold out yet. I think there's about 12 sites left this morning. It's proven very popular. And it's encouraging. You put the additional sites on the coast and they get quickly absorbed. And so it's encouraging for moving forward with Half Moon Bay and getting more full hookup sites in place.
That's great. That's very good. You guys got questions about those reports?
That's just interesting, like Mildred Knife, it's 121% up, which is,
Yeah.
it's driving that. I mean, what
Yeah, but look how small the number is.
I know it's a small number, but it's still, it goes from 14 to 31. That's nice. We just, no idea why anyone else camp out there, but hey, maybe they're chasing those elk that are running around.
I like to get sunburned. Zero shade.
Yeah, there's nothing out there. I mean, no.
That's all I got, Mr. Chair.
Very good. Excellent. Board comments. I guess I got. Commissioner Boyce, do you have anything to add to this wonderful meeting? Oh, you missed a lot of good stuff, I tell you. We'll catch you up on it.
Good.
Anyway, a couple of comments I got. You talk about Mildred Knife. I did get a phone call from an individual and I had no answer, who said they drove into Mildred Knife, the upper part, I guess
Campground.
the horsey thing or something.
Yep.
And they pulled in to stop to eat a split a Subway, and the park host said, no stopping. You can keep driving around and go up, but you cannot stop. Was there something I missed?
No.
I think that was forwarded on to me, cause
It was?
we've addressed that issue,
You did? You
yeah,
heard about it too?
yeah.
What was that all about? Nothing?
They didn't bring them a Subway sandwich, so they were mad.
There's not a policy?
I think he thought the campground's closed, so he thought nobody can park in it, and we told him, no, you can't do that. They're
Oh,
not
so it's a
camping,
host.
it's okay, yes.
Okay, that's good enough for me. I'll get back to, and lastly, I'm thanking the commissioners, I started to, but I'll do it again, about recognizing the Oregon National Guard, Company C, 1st Battalion, 186th Infantry. I served with that outfit from 1967 to 1973. I was an 18-year-old kid out of high school in June and headed to the military in August of 1967, so. Anyway, had some great times, learned some great lessons. I learned how to belly crawl under wire about this far with tracers going over your head. So it's a red line and you're laughing. And suddenly you hear those machine guns going off and you're in the mud and the sludge and your rifle's in your chest and you're squirming and you're 18 years old and this is the end of the world and you're watching that red line. Fortunately, the Army put nets over, so if you wanted to stick your finger through the net and lose it, you could do that, but you just belly crawl. I was a wire communications expert, so I understood science and electronics. So actually there was 1,100 people applied in the summer of '67 for 2 spots down there at the Armory. And I was able to get one of those 2 spots. But that sent me to the field wireman's communication technician I went to Fort Ord, California and so forth. Anyway, I'll tell you the story because it's funny. I think it is now, then it wasn't. You talk about your back breaking. Mine didn't break, but there were 20-foot tall power poles. The life expectancy of a technician wireman in Vietnam was 17 seconds. So when you climbed up that pole and you hit code, had to hook the wires together and drop. We had spikes in our shoes, so they taught you be fast. And back then I could do pop push-ups and everything. Fortunately, 18. So I thought, and I was a squad leader. So anyway, they set me out there amongst all this sandbar, all sand down at Fort Ord, and these 20-foot power poles, and we're all lined up, and it's a race to go to the top, drop, and then just like you see in the timber days things. Anyway, but they told you, don't look up. In other words, keep your hands on your belt. That's as you click, 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 okay. 18 years old, harmless, nothing can hurt me. I'm gonna beat every one of these 120 people out here. Right over the top of the pole with my belt. Now you're going airborne on a 20-foot pole, and you're going straight down, there's nothing gonna stop you. The fall is fine, it's the landing that's gonna get you. Boom, on my back, knocked the wind out of me. I'm laying there, I can't breathe, I can't move, I'm sure I'm dying, and the matter was like, well, the big DI, he was a monster DI up there, had told us, if you get hurt, say beep beep, and we'll know you're fine. I'm laying there sucking wind, trying to breathe, and finally I got enough wind in my chest to go, he's screaming at me, drill sergeant, what do you say, maggot, what do you say? And I'm, beep beep, get up. That was the military. Anyway, a lot of great stories, but anyway, thanks a lot, commissioners.
I have one more.
Oh, you got one more? All right. Anyway,
On a final note, there's some individuals stirring the pot in social media. The narrative is that we plan to close Amica Park, and it arose from discussion we had when we reviewed the capital improvement plan. And I expressed some concerns about Amica as a campground and whether or not we want to invest in it. And I pushed it to the back of the capital improvement plan so we can make some decisions about a later date. I just want to go on record to the individuals that are spreading this. We have no intention whatsoever of closing Amica Park. If there's any question to ask, it's whether or not we maintain it as a campground or a day use, or convert it to a day use area. So I just want to go on record and squash that because it's really irritating me that they continue to put this stuff out there.
Well, I feel like that's been brought up at a few meetings, that it's not gonna be closed.
We've talked
We're not
about
The latest
selling the
post
park,
was
we're not-
yesterday.
Oh.
We've talked about making a day use multiple times over the last couple of years, I think.
It's the Friends of Bass Creek,
okay.
That's right.
and it's come up a number of times, so I just wanna go on record, we have no intention to close the park. We at some point, we'll have to make a decision what we wanna do with the campground, because it's getting to a point of functional obsolescence in terms, just like the other parks we've decided to invest in. I'm not sure that is the right park to sink $2 million into to do a rehab on it, so we can address that in a future date. And the question would be whether we make the investment in the campground or look at alternatives, convert it to a day use park, a dog park, whatever. The park's not gonna ever leave our portfolio.
As you've mentioned before, our older parks, the trailers, RVs used to average about 20 feet, maybe 16 to 20 feet. Now they average 38. And so all the backup sites don't fit, nothing fits if you drive through it, and I do every couple of weeks.
They're all built for station wagons and pop-up campers.
Exactly right. Station wagon is a good point. They slept in the back of station wagon.
Can't get through the trestle there, I mean, that's just the biggest thing, and we're not moving the
12'6"
trestle,
limit.
we're just not moving the trestle, so.
Anything else, Gina? Hold on, everything good?
Yeah.
Anybody else? Great meeting. What time is it? 11:10. Meeting's adjourned, thank you.